Welcome to another episode of Journeys in Entrepreneurship. On this episode, we have Udeme Ufot, the Group Managing Director of SO&U, one of Nigeria's leading marketing communication groups with a strong reputation of professionalism and creativity. Udeme co-founded SO&U in 1990. He has held several executive positions in the Association of Advertising Practitioners of Nigeria, including Vice President and President in 1997 and 1999, respectively. Udeme serves as a board member of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, which is Nigeria's leading public-private sector economic think tank, where he chairs the board's Communications and Media Subcommittee. In recognition of his services to the nation in the corporate sector, he was awarded Member of the Order of the Federal Republic, MFR, in 2014 by the federal government of Nigeria. Interviewing Udeme on this episode is Bukola Majekodunmi. Bukola is the founder and chief vision officer at Bosworth Marketing Consulting, a multinational experiential marketing agency. Bukola is an alumnus of the Faith Foundation Emerging Entrepreneurs Program of the 29th cohort, and she started a marketing career as a promotional staff on marketing campaign with Tequila Marketing, and on this campaign discovered a love for marketing communications. She has spent over 20 years working in different capacities in publishing, public relations, events management, and marketing communications. Join us as we listen to their journeys in entrepreneurship within the marketing and communication space.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Journeys in Entrepreneurship podcast series. My name is Bukola Majekodunmi. I am the founder and the chief vision officer of Bosworth Marketing Consulting. Today, I am super delighted to be sitting with one of the founding fathers in advertising in Nigeria today, the very phenomenal, very amazing Mr. Udeme Ufot, the Group Managing Director of SO&U. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, Bukola. Thanks for that really amazing introduction. Quite a marketing piece there.
A worthy introduction. You're welcome. So, this is something that I had never really imagined that would be possible. Because I remember responding to a modeling call as a young lady just in the university in the middle of the many ASU strikes. I got a modeling call to come to SO&U for a casting. And I was in your office as a young lady, in undergraduate in the university for a casting call. And it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. I've also had the opportunity of working with your team, working on the Guinness campaign of the Water of Life project, working with the Sachi and Sachi team and the SO&U team, Paddy Piro and the rest of them. And it was quite an experience. A thorough team you have there.
Thank you.
Well done, sir. All right, so since we're now here and I've had this opportunity and I have this opportunity to sit down with you, I would like to ask, and I know you've been asked this question a lot of times, how did you venture into advertising and how did you grow through the ranks to develop to have an institution that is one of the most formidable in the world? Please tell us a little bit about your journey, sir.
I'm going to try. Thank you for the question, Bukola. I'm going to try and keep a very long story as short as I can because of the constraint of time that we have. I actually ventured into advertising by accident. My dad at different times wanted me to be an architect, then a doctor, then a lawyer. And then I had a gap year after my O-levels and I wound up in the university library in Calabar and came across a publication. I still recall the title, The American Journal of Marketing. And I flipped through and came across the section on advertising. And there I saw this illustration of a very nice looking, personable chap I can't remember what he was wearing, a nice colorful shirt, beige color linen jacket, Wayfarer Ray-Bans on his eyes. And under that illustration was the caption, a trendy art director. I said, wow, art director. Now, who is an art director? And I went further and I discovered that apparently I was made for advertising. Because in the creative part of advertising, you're either a copywriter. Copywriting means creative writing skills. Or you're an art director, means creative design skills. Now, I got A1 in literature in my O levels. I got A1 in fine arts. So it was like a natural thing to do. And my literature teacher in secondary school had once said about me, for Udeme, literature is a hobby. So I loved it. So I loved to write, I loved to draw. And it was a big battle with my dad. Anyway, so I decided that I was going to go into advertising, and the way in would be through a degree in design, which I did in Ahmadu Bello University, Industrial Design Department, specializing in graphic design. But all through my university career, there was a small agency in Calabar I used to intern with when I was on holidays. Eventually, I finished, and but I must also add that in making the choice, it wasn't an easy one, because my dad fought me all the way. He felt I was too brilliant to be reading design, graphic arts in school, and I should be a lawyer. And we had to come to some compromise later on, and he let me be. And I promised him I won't embarrass him, I won't disappoint him. But even then, I think I should also add this aspect of this story. When I met my wife as my girlfriend, and she introduced me to her father behind my back, and the father asked her what this chap does for a living that's interested in her. And she said, advertising. The man was worried and told her bluntly, I know his dad. I don't think he's going to be the one to feed you. Will he be able to feed you? Well, this advertising, but people did not know. But I chose this career, and I really thank God for that discovery, because I could have been doing other things, but certainly I would never have enjoyed myself in advertising, and probably made something of it as I have done. I mean, I set out in advertising to achieve what I call 3 Fs. I wanted to be famous, like the Sachs. And I think it was given to me on a platter of gold in a way, but the Udeme is my friend advert.
Very true.
I wanted to have fun. And I enjoy every moment of my career in advertising. It's fun. It's the best fun I can have. Then, of course, I wanted to make a fortune. I wanted to be comfortable. I wanted to be not poor. Let's put it that way. I don't think I'm poor. So I achieved the 3 Fs, and but it meant taking some hard decisions along the way. For instance, moving from where I started my career in Calabar, because it became clear to me within 2 years that for you to be in successful advertising practice in Nigeria, the only place you could do it was in Lagos, because Lagos is the commercial nerve center of Nigeria. And so one day, again, against Dad's advice, against my mother's, with her concerns, I packed all my worldly belongings in my VW Beetle and drove all the way to Lagos to start a career in inside communications, where I stayed for 5 years. And in terms of a career, Insight changed my life, because when I negotiated my package with Insight, I told my boss then, Mr. Biodun Shobanjo, that the increment I was going to get for moving from Calabar to Lagos was actually a deduction in my salary. It was 20 naira on top of what I was earning in Calabar, where I had a much easier life. But Mr. Shobanjo said to me, and it's a lesson for every young person, in Calabar, you are a very big fish in a small pond. Come to Insight, I'm going to provide for you a mighty ocean to swim and grow in. And that was it. And I grew rapidly in the 5 years I spent in Insight, from being a senior exec and left as a deputy director. In 1 year, I think in a 6-month frame, I got 2 promotions. I think I'll pause there.
Very, very interesting. I have pinned the 3 Fs: fun, being famous, and fortune. Now, which is everybody's dream, right? We all want to, especially the fortune part.
Yeah.
Now, you've been an entrepreneur in Nigeria for a while. You must have seen many seasons in the life of a nation. Now, we are all at a different season. And right now, we are all ready to throw in the towel, to either japa or close down the business or do something else. So I would like for you to please share with us some of the many challenges you may have faced and how you were able to walk through and still be successful as an entrepreneur in Nigeria.
Thank you. Bukola. I'll start from what I consider the most fundamental. In Nigeria, advertising agencies are not set up, or at the time when I started out, the people that you know set up agencies are the guys in client service, in brand management. So it was rather unheard of that an art director by background will be setting up and heading an agency. And even made worse by the fact that his 2 partners, Bemi Sage was also an art director, Julia Oku was a copywriter. And so 3 people setting out to start an agency and thinking they'd be successful was considered madness. So all along the way, we were told it would not succeed. Then they discovered that we didn't have money. And someone once said to me, how can anybody in this world decide to go into business without some bizarre fund somewhere here and that? And which clients you have? Creative guys never meet clients. They're the guys in the back room doing all the work. They don't see clients. Where will you get clients from? So we started the business. I would say we were born in adversity. From day one, we fought to survive. And one of the things Julia would always say to me in those early days was, Udeme, we can't afford to fail. If we fail, they will laugh at us. And all the young people who look up to us were so disappointed. We have so much, and to make it even worse, where we come from, she is from Cross River, I'm from Akwa Ibom, Bemi was Delta. It will be an embarrassment to our people. So we have to prove that, yes, somebody from where we come from can make a difference in advertising. So we had so much pressure to be successful. But having that adversity also meant that we became rugged. You know? And when things were happening with agencies who were contemporaries, who were doing better than ourselves, because they were better funded from startup, we consoled ourselves. And one of our first self-advertisements was this line: we are long-distance runners. Nice. So we made our staff understand and told ourselves, whatever anybody is achieving now, they're going to get there. Just stay focused. And I always have this saying, eyes on the ball, knees on the ground. The eyes mean stay focused and stay prayerful. Right. Nothing you can't achieve. And tough times would come, and they came. But like I said, because we were born into adversity, we pulled through struggling, fighting. And so we had our muscles well developed to survive tough times. When the tough times did come, it's disappointments, frustrations, but we pulled through. But one thing else I also share, nothing beats having the right friends, the right mentors. And I could go on about friends, because it is from friends that you have opportunities to show what you can do. Your skills stay in your head and in your hands. You need a platform to showcase those skills. And it is your connections, your relationship, your friends that help you offer that platform to show what you can do. I tell my managers, you may be the most fantastic footballer. Your manager keeps you benched. You are useless. Right. There must be a platform to showcase. But talking about mentors, you want people who have had experience, who have seen it all, and who can advise you, guide you with all sincerity. In our 9th year or so, I got a shocker. I lost 45 million naira. 1990, yeah. I lost 45 million naira. It was a huge amount of money for me. For a company I started with 60,000 naira to lose 45 million naira. I was numb with shock. I was scared. I recall my head of HR coming into my office and seeing me the way I looked and said to me, "Boss, it's not the end of the world. I don't want any staff walking through these doors and seeing you like this. Anyone sees you this manner, it means we are finished. So shut up, we're going to pull back." So I went to see a friend of mine, and I'll be very open. Then managing director of Dunlop Nigeria, a mentor, Mr. Jabez Dayolawuyi, took me into his study, and I poured out my emotions. He got a bottle of beer, brought 2 glasses, said, "Drink." And I drank. And he said to me, "You think you've lost 45 million naira? Do you know what some businesses lose in a day? What you must do is ask yourself, what got me here? What did I do wrong that I shouldn't have done? What should I have done that I did not do?" When you put yourself through that, he called it, put yourself through a brutal self-interrogation, you get the answers. And once you get those answers, you pull yourself back out of this mess. Oh, and by the way, when you get back to doing well, at the height of doing well, also ask yourself, what am I doing right? So you can keep doing it right and staying on top. And so that principle has guided me over the years. So the ups and the downs. And you'll, as a business person yourself, you will acknowledge that the Nigerian business terrain is probably one of the most perilous in the world. There are always sharks hovering, there are always obstacles everywhere you must contend with. And so if you develop this thick skin and you have those skills that are kind of, forged into you, you always have answers to survive. And yeah, so there have been great years, not so great years, awful years, at least on 3 occasions in the 33 years of SO&U. We've gotten to the point where we almost wrote ourselves up like, it is finished, but we bounce back. So as a business, you must be resilient. You must build reputation, because in the worst of times, it is that reputation that you have built that you will leverage to get back into contention. You must remain focused, must remain determined. And as another friend and mentor once said to me, again, I'll volunteer names, Father Adela would say, no matter what you know, you must still sweat. No matter what you know, you must still sweat. Hard work. The most successful people have the capacity to work amazingly long hours, on and on and on. And in my university days, I came across this quote: the heights achieved by great men are not achieved by sudden flight, but they, whilst others slept, toiled on in the night. I pause.
Amazing. That is amazing. So, as a business person in Nigeria, you have to be a long distance runner. You cannot survive on it's not a short distance, it's a long distance. So that's very, very valuable. Because of your discussion, you were talking about relationship. You mentioned key relationships, and I am going to ask you a very unusual question. So you left Insight. How was it, being in the same industry with someone that brought you pretty much from Calabar? What is your relationship with them, with Mr. Savanja now? What is the relationship with Inside Communication? Because you're like neighbors pretty much, and you still see each other in the marketplace. So how were you able to manage all of these relationships?
Well, I must say that one of the blessings I have from God is the gift of being able to make and retain friendships. My wife once said that one person that she is surprised that has friends he made in primary school. When my daughter wedded in Miami last year, August, I had 3 guests who were my primary school mates with me in Miami. It takes some skill, some goodwill to build those relationships, and that was what I brought into business. I started from day one, anywhere I work, that I must manage my ecosystem. It's about relationships. So where I worked in Insights, I gave my work my all. And I still recall, you know how demanding the Shepherd Jack can be. So you can imagine one evening I was working all alone in the studio, working flat out. My boss comes and he sees me working and looks around, he sees the pile of work I've done. He steps out. Next thing, he had caught my immediate boss. And I overhear conversations. And I pick this phrase. You sure? I'm going to kill that boy. I was working. But I didn't feel I was being overworked. I just loved my work. So when I had to leave Insight, I must say I left when the vision was loudest. I was actually given responsibility for 4 areas I was not being paid for. I was an art director. I was writing copy. I was managing 4 accounts as a brand manager in Insight. I was also supervising the production unit of the company, all on one salary. I gave my all. And when I said I was leaving, it was like, hey, this is the MB's blue-eyed kid. But to be like to be very open, I got to my bosses, I'm at that stage in my life. I'm being troubled, I cannot sleep. Something says to me, now is the time to move. Right. I don't know why. I just want to move. And so my boss says to me, Udeme, I hear you. If you don't like entrepreneurship, your seats and table remain here. Come back anytime. But over the years, I've managed to stay friends. Again, when my father died, the senior manager was in Uyo with me, as well as my other bosses and Denise. We all remain friends. And the key thing is that if you're open and sincere, do unto others as you like them do unto you. You maintain your relations, you maintain your friends. And when you have the opportunity, you show strong level of sincerity. All good. So I've maintained that relationship. We've been, one of the biggest admirers and encouragers of SO&U. I've been Mr. SO&U itself. And when Insight marked 40 years, Mr. Gimi Awuchika called me and said to me, Udeme, you remain an insider. You are one of us. Just to let you know that Insight is now 40. And you are part of the celebration because in your days in the agency, you're some of the guys that made it happen to build the Insight brand what it has become. So relationships are persevered and of sincerity. Because
nowadays relationships are not really given the right place in relationships and the way people engage. So that's something really, really profound, to take away. So I would like to also come back to another critical set of relationships that you had with Julia and Guinness again. Why them in the entire agency? What stood out for you for these individuals and how have you managed that? I mean, I just finished the EEP and part of my takeouts, in terms of expanding our business was, collaboration and partnerships. But I must say that it is not as smooth, it is not as easy as it looks. So please share with us, sir.
Yeah, no relationship is easy. It's you just have to commit to it, be open. Again, I say be fair and do unto others as you have them do unto you. Incidentally, Sage and Oku are no longer with the business, incidentally, but we've remained friends. For Oku, she remains actually a part of the company. She chairs 1 or 2 of our subsidiary boards, and remains on the board of SO&U. But the most important thing is that we, at different intervals, we parted ways in peace and harmony. And the important thing there is that from packaging that relationship in terms of the partnership, you must be clear as to expectations, as to rules. And you must set the expectations very clear. One thing you must note, I did not pick Bemi Sage because he was my friend to be my partner in business. No. At the time I considered starting SO&U, I felt that Udeme Ufot was the best art director you could find in the industry. So he came for the value he could bring to the party. But differently with Julia and I grew up in Calabar. We've known ourselves from when we were teenagers. Our parents were friends. So we had a lot of connections. And in fact, I would say she was actually one of the key drivers. When I first mentioned the idea of having an agency, she bought in. I would always say to me, when I hadn't come to some closure, Udeme, when you are ready, I'm ready. I'll go with you. And so we started this. And I was very clear as to what I wanted. And the bottom line, when you work in that kind of partnership, that you make your partners understand that there's absolutely nothing personal. When we win and win well, we all enjoy. And the finances are very important. There must be transparency in the operations of the business. Where people fall out in business with serious acrimony is where one person feels that the other or some people have been taking what they should not be taking. And so when you put the proper structures in place in terms of operations, and you put the structures in place in terms of even relationships these are well defined. At the end of the day, the most critical thing is that if you decide to disagree, you agree to disagree, and life goes on. So in our fourth year, Udeme Ufot felt that he couldn't continue with the business. I had some family commitments, he said, and he said, make a choice. So he sold back his shares to the company because we also had a rule. See, there are fundamentals. Even as seemingly ignorant as we were at that time, we had gotten some good legal advice to ensure that there were clear structure of entry and exit. And so because he'd been with the agency for less than 5 years, he had to sell back his holding. And the rule was that if you choose to depart in less than 5 years of startup, you must exit and sell back your shares. Gilaku left in the 12th year. And so she took an early retirement, she moved to Port Harcourt, had to join her husband there, and took an early retirement. But she retained her shares in the company, remains on the board of the company, is the chair of 2 of our boards and on a few other companies, and we remained great friends. Even Sage and I, we interact from time to time. He is based in Sapele now, running some family business. So it's about being able to manage relationships, being fair, and being receptive to other people's opinions too.
I really love that. I really love that. You know, the clarity that you had at the beginning of the business, you know, when you were setting it up, you had proper structures in place. You had pretty much clarified what will happen. I like what you said about if you exited before 5 years, this is what will happen. So everyone kind of goes in understanding what will be the next step if you decide for A, B, or C.
Yeah, I think it was also helped by the fact that having had the opportunity of working in Insights, I think what I got to learn, there were about 6 or so partners when Insight first started. At the time I joined, they were down to 4, then down to 3. The point is that there'll be exits for one reason or the other. And so if you proactively plan those exits, you minimize acrimony and bad blood. So we've thought about that. And it's also not, or let me put it this way, it's also obvious that the journey of entrepreneurship, building a business is not easy. And not everyone may have the lever to go through the down times. You know, once you've taken a position in the business, you work. And for my partners, like I said, only I had money and just 60K. So they've technically worked it. You can't be gifted equity in a business, and after 2-3 years, you decide you are not doing again. You hold on to the equity. Now imagine that if you didn't have that clause of in less than 5 years, if you quit, you sell back. My friend Udeme left in his 4th year, and he would still have been screaming out on labor and sweat 33 years after of everyone else. I mean, advertising is a talent business. The machines we have are the people. And so you're only as good as the people that you have. And so the idea of someone sitting somewhere screaming out for doing nothing just because he or she was opportune at some stage to take a position is not really fair to the guys who are running the farm for the moment. And I always had it in mind, that SO&U will be truly a long distance runner, And I said to my managers today, the real joy I want to have is that God keeping me on my 80th birthday, a bunch of guys come visiting, management team from SO&U, coming to say to the founder, happy 80th birthday. And the company is going strong and prospering. That is my dream. And so everything that can be done to ensure that that dream is sustained is a commitment for me to work on. And I think even for Julia herself, whenever she comes in, she will come and say, Udeme, well done. You've kept this thing going. It's amazing how long it's come, because nobody ever gave us a chance. I mean, seeing 33 years of SO&U to me is in some way a miracle. And it's just God at work. And God works in really mysterious ways, because even the things that you do, I tell people that it is God that makes those things that are seemingly foolish in your own eyes and turns foolishness to great wisdom. Because even my wife told me when I left to start SO&U, how could you live? Wrong timing. Everything you do, wrong timing. But all the wrong moves turn out right. What else? It's God.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Great depth and wisdom. Thank you very much. And I pray that dream will come true in the name of Jesus Christ. So finally, I'd like you to say a few words to young people, because the advertising industry is full of really young people, very volatile, very talented, all the good and the bad and the ugly. So what would you say to them? Realizing now that you really started very early, what would you say to them?
Think long term. Think long term. I had another mentor who said to me, the biggest problem with Nigerian business people, Nigerian businesses, is short-termism. They never think long term. They take decisions that favor them today and forget the implications tomorrow. See, all I have done, I had friends of mine in the early days of SO&U who will come and say to me, the company is making such a big name, but you are still so poor. You're so poor. Yes, you say you are so successful. Money in the bank for SO&U. Whatever we say, if you say now drop 10K, you don't have. Because we were constantly investing and reinvesting in the business. Investing and reinvesting in ourselves as managers. At the time I had to go to Lagos Business School, I couldn't afford the fees. It was just 250K. I paid in 4 installments. Because I needed to get that exposure, that training to be a better manager. And the school did not just give us training to manage our businesses better. It opens a window of opportunity in terms of a powerful network to plug into and make friends upon friends upon friends and expand. And almost everything I've done thereafter, whether my involvement with the LBS to the NESG, I've been on that same platform. So it's about thinking long term, and then don't think about what you lack. Think about that little bit that you have and how you're going to use it to compensate for the things that you lack.
Amazing. Thank you very much. I'm going to throw a bonus question into that, but I just wanted to reinforce what you mentioned. Just before we walked in, Shemilore was telling me that you took the EEP. I could not believe that the great Udeme Ufot took a course in EEP after so many years of running a business. So that for me is one of the biggest takeouts of this conversation, really, making sure that I'm improving myself on a daily basis. So the iconic Udeme is a great man. Tell us, how did that happen? We weren't in the room. Just give us a sneak peek into what happened and how that emerged.
Well, it's pretty simple. Diageo, owners of Guinness brand, wanted to have a regional campaign, and they wanted to have something that was different because all the beer adverts looked the same, sounded the same. And I wanted something that would be, different. So they pulled together a creative team. Of course, Nigeria is the biggest market for Guinness in Africa. They pulled a team from Nigeria, from London, from Cape Town to work on a new brief. And so we came up on this storytelling angle to the Guinness brand. But how would they came up was that at the end of it, we wanted to have a hero whose story we would tell that would make the consumer see that, this is not just an ordinary beer. It's a beer that has some more seriousness, some more depth. And so even in the advertising, the difference was something that was going to make, positioned it in that manner. But in the choice of the name, I always like to protest that it was against my wish, because they asked me for some names we could use, and we proposed different names. And somebody came back from Cape Town and said they actually prefer to use Udeme. And I said, why? You're going to embarrass me. They know I'm involved with this production. They know I'm in advertising. And if you said about the advert, my friend Udeme is a stupid guy, I won't mind. But saying my friend Udeme is a great guy, is, a great man, it's like self-aggrandizement. And I know I'm involved in it, but I was overruled. And the final word was that it's just 2 days to break the campaign. If we change, we're going to lose 1 month to go back to the client. So I will let it go. So it's turned to be one of the most iconic ads in Nigerian advertising. I'm very proud to have been involved, and thank God for that.
And without a doubt, my friend Udeme is a great man. Thank you so much.
And thank you for the time. Maybe before we go, you've been asking all the questions, and I think it's my turn to go on the offensive. Looking at your profile, I've been amazed. How you've taken Bosworth Consulting across borders, beyond Nigeria. I had my ambitions of just crossing maybe into Cameroon or Ghana, but I see you've been across Africa, even to South America. One, what informed this, and what kind of challenges did you face on this journey across borders?
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so it wasn't planned, and I know we had several conversations earlier about it was purely acts of God, really. When I founded the business, what was critical for me was about setting up a business that could match international standards. And I would say to them jokingly and say, whatever you're doing, if you take it from Nigeria and take it to Miami, will it work? So every time we'll just be joking and say, does this one enter Miami? We say, Shele wa Miami. That was like our thing, whatever it is, like Shele wa Miami. And, it was about, telling ourselves that no matter what we're doing, we shouldn't say because we're in Nigeria, so the standards must be Nigerian. So it was about doing things with international standards. And so what happened was our clients that we were working with in Nigeria. So when we do work for them, they get promoted, and then they are transferred to other regions. So our first activity out of Nigeria was in Guinea-Conakry. So we're sitting down and somebody says, oh, this thing that you're doing, can you do it in Guinea-Conakry? I'm like, yes, we can do it in Guinea-Conakry. I had no idea where Guinea-Conakry was or what it was or what language it was about. And it was when I stepped out that I realized that it was Francophone, and, I had no idea. But somehow God helped us, and we did it. It was purely based on just institutionalizing, integrity, whatever it is that we commit to, we would do. And it was about that standard. And before we knew it, they were promoted to South America. They took us along. And we have gone to about 12, 13 countries. And every day, new countries are opened up to us. But it's essentially the grace of God and the fact that we are very particular about the standards. So it's not a Nigerian standard, but it's a global standard. Whatever it is that we do, we try. It's very painful, very difficult, but I think the team kind of now, they understand what it is that we're trying to do.
I'll say congratulations. You've done extremely well. I'm amazed. I'm inspired. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Udeme Ufot. It's been an amazing, amazing session. Thank you very much for sharing your journey with us. And thank you everyone for joining, and we look forward to welcoming you on the next podcast series. Bye.
Thank you for watching this episode of Journeys in Entrepreneurship. This interview was recorded at a live studio session on the 11th of August 2023 at the Faith Foundation office in Ilupeju, Lagos, Nigeria. We look forward to hearing about your haha moments in the comment section below, and we hope you watch out for the next episode. Thank you.